Well, I bet you guys thought you'd heard the last of me, so just a little bit more. First of all, somebody today asked me how I felt with my youngest son now starting his own life and basically leaving me. And I thought it was a really interesting question because at first I kind of flashed back and thought about him as a young boy and how many times we had played together, coached his team, a lot of his friends here. And I started thinking back to that, and for a moment I was just kind of thinking, huh. But then I started thinking about the moment. And I realized that I'm not losing a son. I am gaining a wonderful, beautiful daughter-in-law. And I still have my son. So he's not going anywhere. He's just a man now. And he is a man that has filled me with pride and a admiration of what he's become. He's a boy that started out just saying, Dad, I'm going to figure this all out. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to figure it out. And every time he would jump deep into whatever it was that he was focusing his sights on, whether it was kendama, tech decks, baseball, football, soccer, lacrosse, art, and the list goes on, he was all in. I mean, this guy had more tech decks than they had in stores. And then he went into kendamas, and he didn't have 3 or 4. I don't know, he must have had 30 of them. And then he started cutting them and tying the strings together to make them longer, redesign them. And I thought, oh, wow. And he was good. And he was in competitions, and he's hanging out with all these people that we didn't know. Most of the time we were just, hey, how are you? Good to see you. And it was amazing. And then he met Danielle. And when he met Danielle, he came to me, he said, Dad, I've found the one. And I said, that's great. And I'm thinking, yep, he's going to jump in and then change his mind. But that didn't happen. Every time I talked to him, he told me more about what this woman meant to him. And I knew that this was the one. And then I watched them grow as a couple and as new family. And Danielle, you are beautiful. You have such a wonderful heart. And you're just amazing. You fill me with joy every time I see you. And I just love hugging you and welcoming you into our family because it's a real honor. And buddy, I couldn't be more proud. Love you.
I'm just going to try to keep this somewhat short. Are there speakers after me? Are there speakers after me? There is, okay. So anyway, before we get beginning on their relationship, I would like to talk about Danielle for a minute. Now, when Danielle was born, I was kind of having some issues with my wife, and I prayed about a few things. I prayed that she'd 5 things, not to mention actually 6, it's Daddy's little girl, and I got that. But I prayed for 5 things, and I got 4. I don't want to tell you what the 4 of them are, and that's kind of a thing, but I couldn't have been blessed with more than I got than I have with Danielle. Danielle, early on, I remember I got to go 8 months old, hadn't spoken a word yet, and didn't speak another word until about 11. But I went in and I sat, she was sleeping on my bed, and I said, Danielle. She opened her eyes, and with a big smile, as she did every time she woke up, she said, Daddy, with a big smile on her face. I will never forget that. I ran out of the room trying to get everybody. Did anybody hear that? Nobody heard it. Nobody believed me. Nobody heard it. It was Daddy, as clean as day. But Danielle, as time progressed, she became dad's little girl, and we did everything together. And when we separated, Paul and I wondered what I was going to do with the little girl. After I picked her up, I said, what am I going to do with a little girl? I never thought about that part of it. And our buddy Mike said, let's go fish at that pond down the street. And we did. And we fished and fished and fished and went outside, go up Sacramento River in the boat. We'd just fish all the time. And, of course, Aunt Renee would get her involved in the horses, and Mom would take care of her, too. It was really kind of a blessed thing because in the 60s, I could do anything I want. Claudia and I, my friend back here, we'd ride our bikes around in 1967, 68, 8-year-olds, and nobody would say a thing. Now you can't do that as parental something or another. They get in trouble for stuff like that. But we did everything together, and that was my plan, to make sure she had a happy youth. And we did. It was good all the way along. And I knew that the first 14, 15 years were going to be good. I knew the teenage years were coming. I had to be prepared for something to come at me, and it did. All that doesn't matter. Now it's all a part of the experience, and part of it I owe. My dad did the same thing to my dad, so I kind of have to look at it that way. But there has never been a better prayer that's been answered than Danielle, and my son Andrew too. When she just went with me everywhere. Everywhere we'd take a day trip, I'd write a song about it, and we'd have a good time. And then Ryan comes along. All right, so that's good. It's all right. It's all right. And then he comes all the way from L.A., flies in to ask for her hand. And you see all the movies and television shows where the dad has to give the daughter away. And we all take it for granted. It's no big deal. The hell it is. I've been with this one for a long time now, and I'm going to miss this. So you're doing good, sweetie. You know everything. Just don't forget me along the way. But Ryan, I love you. As I've got you over the last couple of years or whatever, she couldn't have found a better kid, young man, to be with. He really is everything that everybody talks about. He is just that. He'll promise you the moon. He can't do that. He can't do everything that I've asked him to do. Just can't do it. Too busy. But he is a good man, and for that I've never seen two people want to be together more than these two, and they do everything together, almost everything. Pretty weird. I never had that my whole life. So anyway, God bless you. I know the journey's going to be good. Don't forget who I am, okay? I love you both very much, okay? All right. I didn't have any time. I love you too, you know that.
All right. So about a month before this monumental day, I watched a short clip of Ryan in his wedding suit, sprinkling flower petals in a heart so his future bride could feel special on their original wedding day. In that moment, it hit me. I was suddenly, I was suddenly overwhelmed with pride for the man Ryan had become and how deserving Danielle was of everything he has to give. Then again, ever since Ryan and Danielle met, I have seen him in a whole new way. Hi, I'm Chelsea, and I'm Ryan's older sister. We have always been super close, and I have eagerly waited to officially welcome Danielle into our family. They truly are the perfect union. Ryan and Danielle were made for each other, and that became very clear to me almost immediately. Early on in their relationship, I remember a simple yet powerful moment that took place around the table. Although I do not recall the topic, I remember Danielle actively encouraging Ryan as he was talking, but also holding him accountable. I thought to myself in that moment, what a perfect balance. This is who I want my brother to marry. In my eyes, Danielle was the first person who saw my brother for all he was. Handsome, talented, funny, devoted, confident, and so incredibly worthy of someone who loved him for all he was. Danielle was not hung up on his good looks or his charismatic nature. Instead, she saw all of Ryan and connected with him on a soul level. Since that day, I found more and more little moments that illuminated what their future could be like. Laughing and entertaining one another while waiting for our food, taking care of pets together, balancing time between family and social media, the way they looked at each other from across the room. Then, there were the big moments. I remember when Ryan first told me he was going to propose to Danielle. I was amazed by the ideas he had and knew that Danielle was the perfect lifetime companion for my little brother. I knew that my job as a big sister and looking out for him was now going to be shared with a woman who continues to blow me away with her commitment, levity, and strength, all wrapped up in one delightful person. I knew that my heart could rest easy because Ryan had found the one who would both love him unconditionally and encourage him to become the best version of himself. That's all I could ever want for him. Danielle, you are the sister I never had but have always wanted. You are such a fun, strong, and bright light in all of our lives. You have illuminated everything Ryan has to offer as a person, a partner, and to himself. For that, I am extremely grateful. Thank you for giving my brother everything I would ever want for him in a wife, a friend, and a partner. When I heard about Ryan and Danielle delaying their wedding and sacrificing their own happiness to keep others safe, I knew that they were both ready to take on whatever life had in store for them as an unshakable team. Don't get me wrong, Ryan will always be my little brother, but he is also becoming a man that I am so incredibly proud to call family. From the beginning, Danielle has brought out the very best in Ryan. It became clear that Ryan was no longer interested in just his own dreams and future. Instead, he wanted what was best for the two of them. Ryan has such a huge heart and has a natural desire to help others. Now, he has someone to care for and love who fully appreciates everything he has to offer. As you embark on this journey together, I continue to beam with pride as I watch both of you tackle life together. Life will surely throw you curveballs, but I know that no matter what, your love will prevail. Cheers to the beginning of your adventure. It will be the best ride of your life.
It's a wonderful day. Finally got here. You guys are awesome. This was so much fun. Danielle, we've known obviously her entire life. Time she was this big. Sophia, our daughter, and Danielle are a year apart, so they've always been super close cousins. And Danielle's been like another daughter to us. So spent a lot of time with us and our family, and we've seen her grow up. I could tell you lots of embarrassing stories, but I won't. That'll come out in my book about YouTubers exposed. So I've got that. That's coming out soon. But yeah, we've just seen you grow up and just become such a wonderful woman. And then Ryan shows up, you know. First day he walks into our house, we spend a lot of time together. And I'm like, who's this guy? He's like full of energy, he's positive, he's just like amazing. I'm like, he can't be real. But no, he is, and he's the real deal, and we've spent a lot of time together. And I think it was the time that, maybe one of the first times we went boating, I would take the kids out boating. And the girls would get in the inner tube, and they'd be like, go as slow as possible, we don't want to get wet, you know, whatever. All right, well, we'll see about that. So Ryan says, do your best, try to kill me, whatever it takes. I'm like, all right, challenge accepted. So, you know, I'm pretty good at whipping people around and throwing them out of the tube. So I looked over at Danielle and I said, is this guy a keeper? Because we can make it look like an accident. So right here, no problem. We got witnesses, and he said, try to kill me, we're good. And she said, no, I like him. So here we are. So he made it. So, but I love you guys both. I love you, Ryan. You've been just an amazing person to get to know. And I just pray and hope that you guys have an incredible life together.
So I would just like to say I have just loved Danielle since she was just a tiny little girl, and I've always been so happy. She's my little niece, and I'm gonna cry. But anyway, And I'd also like to take a moment and say, I love my nephew Andrew too. I didn't have the opportunity to spend as much time with him, but I love him and I think he's absolutely wonderful. But I'm just so thankful. I am just so thankful that you've always been a part of our family. And I always prayed that you would grow up and marry someone, a fabulous person. And look what happened. Look what happened. And it happened so quickly and so soon. And I liked Ryan from the get-go. Just from the beginning. I just was just so amazed at what a wonderful person. And so I'm just really so very happy for both of you. You mean the world to us. So, okay.
And as far as the horse thing goes, so we had just bought a new house, put a pool in, had a pretty nice setup, and Danielle and Sophia got into horses. So then they just talked me into moving to an old crappy fixer-upper that had property. So basically I got 10 years of hard labor and they got horses. But I'm very thankful that we were able to give that to you and to Sophia. And obviously you still love horses. So yeah, that's great. So thank you.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. So, about 5 years ago, Ryan said, we were having dinner, and he goes, you know what? I'm never going to get married. I'm never going to have kids. And I thought, that's kind of a bummer. And then everything changed in November, 3 years ago. He met Danielle. And we had the opportunity to meet her. He brought her up to Washington. It was November 2000, help me with the math, 2019. Okay, right. And it took probably the first 5 minutes, I realized things changed. And I knew right away that Danielle was the one. I knew at that moment. It was that ploof intuition. And I'll be brief, but what I want to say is, they live a lot of their life in front of the camera, but what I've noticed, it's the little things that are done that both of them do for one another when no one else is looking. It's those tender moments and the things they do for one another when no one else is looking, the camera is not rolling, and that's the real deal. I'm so happy for the two of you. Danielle, you're a gift to our family, and I could not be more happy to have the two of you together as Mr. and Mrs. Plouffe. I love you both.